Testing, testing. Gonna accept all the cookies. Testing, testing. All right. So today we're going to answer the age-old question of Unity versus Unreal, and specifically for VR, mixed reality projects. We're going to be getting Oculus Quest Pro soon, so we want to figure out which of these game engines we want to use. I'm obviously a little biased versus Unity because it's something I've used before for a bunch of different projects. I've never really dabbled in Unreal too much, but Unreal Engine they have a lot of money. Epic Games has a lot of engineers. It's also faster. And they have technology like Lumen and Nanite in VR. These are basically infinite resolution, and apparently I saw one tweet where Lumen and Nanite in VR are apparently very, very good. By far the most detail and realism I've ever seen. So I think that should work well, or that will eventually be the differentiator, but we will see. And I think we're going to be reading some articles. These articles come from a website called XR Bootcamp, which is basically just a kind of different tutorials for virtual reality and so on. Alright, so let's start with this one here. May 6th, 2022, so still a little bit fresh, maybe just a tiny bit stale. Okay. Unity and Unreal are currently the leading RT3D, real-time 3D engines. Okay. Cinematography, simulation, XR, and other app development. Let's check out some of the popular games made with each. So, non-VR type games made with Unity. You have Cuphead, Genshin Impact, Pokemon Go, Escape from Tarkov, Hearthstone. So you kind of get a vibe here of kind of smaller, more toy games, not really graphics heavy. And then non-XR games made with Unreal. Batman, Street Fighter, Fortnite, Gears of War, Mortal Online. So these are more graphics heavy games. Fortnite has some pretty complicated stuff around very large maps and lots of concurrent players. Okay, now it goes into popular VR games and social platforms. Around 70% of the games on MetaQuest 2 are made with Unity. That is something to write down. So why don't we actually maybe start writing these down. Maker VR, CDVR. Let's make a Unity versus Unreal.md. Okay. Unity, and then we'll have Unreal. So Unity, one Pro here. We'll make it italics, and then we'll do something similar for Unreal Pro and Con. So Unreal, we were gonna say Lumen and Nanite in VR. Pro for Unity, 70% of Quest 2 games made with Unity. Okay. VR chat, Beat Saber, Horizon Worlds, Population 1, Pistol Whip. These are basically the who's who of the most popular VR games. Popular VR games made with Unreal, you have the more kind of graphics heavy games, Vader Immortal. So yeah, it does seem like Unity is way more popular. Scripting, rendering, blah blah blah, a bunch of different packages. Let's look more closely. Okay, Unity is C#, of course. C# is friendlier, right? C# for faster development. A con of Unreal is Ride CPP. And it's not just CPP, it's also Unreal specific code. Yeah, it's not CPP that is specific to Unreal. So it's a slower dev. You could maybe say blueprints, faster development. Yeah, so basically in Unreal, the C++ is going to be terrible, right? Because you're going to have, it's not even normal C++, it's like specifically Unreal C++, right? You're going to use a bunch of specific Unreal stuff. But the kind of silver lining is that the blueprint tool, which is kind of visual scripting, is really baked in. So you're going to be using the blueprints for pretty much everything you want to do. Okay, so visual scripting in Unity is not really compatible with C#. Realistically, if you're using Unity, you're going to do all of it. Okay, realistically won't use visual scripting. Just shifted my thing here, but in Unreal you're probably gonna exclusively use the visual scripting. Okay. Both engines provide excellent quality and speed. Yeah. So better graphics out of the box. This is going to be worse graphics out of the box. Yeah, in XR development, the need for optimization often outweighs the possibility to include higher fidelity graphics, so Unity default setup is more suited. So, right, the problem is that better graphics, you might have better graphics, but it's going to be, might not be possible to use better graphs, good graphics. What do they call it? High fidelity graphics. Unity's render system is more modular. Okay, kind of hard to pick a rendering pipeline in Unity. Unreal, you have kind of all node-based stuff. Post-processing in Unreal is also extendable with a greater series of choices for each effect. Okay, so more post-processing effects. Let's write that just so we don't lose it. Real-time cinematic rendering, Unreal versus Unity. Unreal has been a market leader from architectural visualization to advanced VFX. Unity high definition render pipeline, HDRP. Right, so whenever you start up Unity, you have to kind of pick which render pipeline you want. You either want the fast one, or you use the HD one. Unity showcased. So, just Unity trying to wow with kind of high quality stuff. VFX graph for Unity. Okay, universal render pipeline. Cannot render particles with lighting derived from the scene. Okay, so it really seems like particles and VFX not available with the universal render pipeline to the high def one, HDRP. Okay. Unreal has Niagara, visual-based editor. Using the Niagara system might feel based on a series of modules. What the fuck? Vulkan rendering? Okay, so I think realistically, like, there's not going to be a ton of VFX because you're going to have such limited compute on the headset that you're not going to be using either of these. Both engines allow cross-platform development. Yep, that's good. Unity has advantage in XR. It supports HTML5 web publishing. The fuck is HTML5? Okay, 14 years old. What is WebXR? Provides access to input and output. It allows you to develop and host VR and AR experiences on the web. Okay, I mean, this is probably some garbage, to be honest. For XR development, most virtual and augmented reality platforms support Unity better than Unreal. Unreal Engine often gets these toolkits released months after Unity, and the features supported by blueprints may be limited. So, is this true? One thing we can do here is, here we have the GitHub for the Unreal Engine, the fork coming out of Oculus VR. And we can look at the releases for this and maybe even the commits. Then let's go to Oculus VR, and then they also have the Unity graphics. And let's look at those releases. Maybe tags. No, that doesn't give us a ton of information. Let's look on the commits here. So we have March 4th, March 3rd, March 2nd, high definition render pipelines. Here in the Unreal one, we have October, September 22, August 22, so maybe a little bit more activity here on the Unreal Engine. We can do insights and look at the contributors here and do something similar here. You can go on the Unity one, look at contributors. Let's compare kind of the contributions. Really, we're looking to see how many people are contributing to these. So this is a good amount of people. Really, the majority of the contributions are coming from seems like a lot of it was done early on, kind of early 2018, and then it kind of tailed off here, though you still see some activity. Let's get this graph. Do 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 do. Wow, that's taking a little bit long. All right, we'll go back to that, but yeah, so I mean, XR Bootcamp is a little bit biased. They tend to prefer Unity, so just something to think about. It looks like both of these are pretty much getting contributed to, so it's not like one of them is rotting away. There are currently very few and hard to pick XR multiplayer experiences built with Unreal. Okay, so let's talk about runtime mesh access as maybe one of the reasons why multiplayer XR experiences tend to be made in Unity. Custom and personalized content. Okay, so basically what they're talking about here is that Unity has this concept known as an asset pack, which basically allows you to load assets, right? 3D objects, meshes with textures and potentially skeletons into a already compiled Unity game. So you're running a Unity game and you can load this asset pack. And this allows you to have kind of avatars, accessories, like a bunch of extra DLC kind of stuff that tends to be much more prevalent in social games, right? Where you're kind of using that as a way to monetize. In Unreal, you do not have this apparently. So in an Unreal game, you might not be able to load assets at runtime as easy. Okay. Not be able to load assets at runtime easily. Multiplayer is harder to implement. Pro. Unity asset packs make loading external assets at runtime easy. Let's see if this other thing that we wanted is... Okay, here we go. Unreal Engine, contributions. So actually, interestingly, this started way before. So Oculus VR, the Unreal Engine plugin started all the way in basically 2013. Here it started in 2016. Many more contributions. So here the peaks are around 200 contributions to master. Here the peaks are at over 1,000 contributions to master. But it has really died down, right? This is not very good to see that it's kind of died down in 2022 versus here in the Unity one you can see that it's maintaining. Let's see this main contributor guy, Ben Marsh here. Is there anybody that's contributing later? Ben Marsh works at Epic Games, did a bunch of contributions early in 2022, and doesn't really even done anything. Okay, it's a little bit unsettling. I wonder how Boneworks game engine. Okay, so Boneworks uses Steam or uses Unity. Guys, it's kind of feeling like Unity is the move, to be honest. Animation. Armature-based animation, vertex, state machines, blah, blah, blah. Unreal, they'll both provide animation engines. Unreal has proven that its animation quality and tools are more mature. Yeah, Unreal is a little bit better for animation. Unity has a bigger community. Yeah. Pro. We actually recognized that one too in one of our earlier videos. Easier to find help due to larger community. Unity comes with fewer built-in features, has a large marketplace for plugins. Smaller plugin marketplace. Let's compare these. Unity Asset Store, Unreal Marketplace. Let's look for VR. Assets. And in Unreal's, let's also look for VR. VR Saber Rhythm game. Ultimate VR template. Icon VR pack. Enhanced VR template. VR inventory systems. VR hand grabbing systems. VR inventory, web swinging, kitchen props. Okay, so you do have some VR stuff here. Let's see one that's highly rated here. VR grab hand system. When was this made? Supports engine version 5. Okay. Let's look at the Unity Asset Store here. What do you got? Omnicept SDK. The fuck is this? Okay. I don't know what that is. Echo 3D, Hurricane VR, Multiplayer VR, VR UI kit, physics controller, Ivy for VR. Okay, a bunch of leaves if you want to put them in your VR game. It's kind of cool. Alright, so we'll say that a pro for Unity is slightly more rich asset store. Okay. Okay, both Unity and Unreal are free up until the point where you make a bunch of money. Unity is preferred by around 62% of the game developers. It's interesting how internal proprietary engines are still super popular. What are these little asterisks? Engine compilation required, external download. Yeah, so basically they have all the same support here, although Oculus VR engine compilation required, it just basically means you need this special version of Oculus VR enabled Unreal Engine. Pico SDK. Perforce is a asset. It's kind of like Git, but for assets, right? Version control when you have large meshes and lots of textures and stuff like that. Photogrammetry, right? That's going from a bunch of pictures into a 3D file. Unreal has reality scan. Yeah, this right here is from Sketchfab. Sketchfab was actually recently purchased by Unreal Engine, so something to think about. Stock art, Unity Art Engine, Sketchfab supposedly is in both. Both use PhysX, VR template. What is VR template? Okay, yeah, so both of them have kind of a generic starting point for the VR. We should honestly think about doing this tutorial. Is there a 5? VR template for 5? IK-based interactions, trail solver, full body IK, two bone IK. IK means inverse kinematics. Yeah, so for example here, inverse kinematics means kinematics is just basically the position of the joints. And inverse kinematics means, hey, I have one leg here and another leg here, or another one foot here and the other foot here. What do my legs look like? Can you solve this in such a way that the legs look normal? Right, so you can have much more complicated kind of setups here, like this spider. Okay. Asset management by, so assets will be converted to Unreal specific format during import. You must understand file redirectors fully if you're going to frequently move or rename assets. Yeah, so let's say better IK. assets stored in UE5 format can't be modified easily. Understand file redirectors. Enable filters, show you redirectors. Okay, so it's basically just pointers. Source code access, read-only access to engine source, read-write access to engine source. Yeah, so I don't know if that's a con or a pro, but requires building engine from source. Efficient, moderate quality by default. High quality is attainable with greater effort. High quality by default. Performance may suffer for mobile devices without optimization. So we'll make it here. Better animation. IK. All done internally through blueprints. Right. Yeah, shaders and materials you kind of need to have. So a con of Unity here is that custom shaders and materials require programming in the shader language, HLSL, which is a huge pain. I've done that before and it's like basically impossible. Visually scripted to make it easier. VFX pipeline. We can probably just get rid of these. Like, honestly, I'm not going to be doing VFX in VR anytime soon. Okay, so I mean, this kind of paints a different picture than they were saying before, right? They were saying multiplayer is easier in Unity, but it sounds like Unity is mostly about the third-party plugins. Templates. Okay. What's 5% of 1 million? It's $5,000. Yeah. this is kind of why I learned Unity, right? Is that it's easier to learn. Harder to learn. Pro, easier to learn. Okay, and their final kind of comparison here. Unity is the reigning champion in XR development. Unreal is a legitimate choice, but if you're basing your choice, Unity wins outrun. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're really making a strong case here where they're saying that in the whole community is using Unity. Unity gets the features faster than Unreal. Yeah. I think this is... Are Lumen and Nanite... Lumen and Nanite on Meta Quest Pro. Yeah. Lumen and Nanite, but only available on PCVR. We're also beginning to see a shift in the demographics that use Unreal. As people are lured in by the AAA visuals, they're finding more ways to extend the engine for use in XR, especially as XR hardware improves. So Pro for Unreal seems to be growing in market share. Con, many of the features are not going to run on standalone VR headsets. Gets updates to, or what do they call it? Features. Gets features and extensions faster. Okay, so they have some recommendations here. Yes. No. Okay, so I mean, if we follow this, right? Do you have any experience using Unity or Unreal? Yes. Would you rather leverage your existing experience or choose engine based on its unique feature? I kind of want to choose based on the features. Do you have experience in programming or 3D art? Yes. Is your focus on art or programming? A little bit of both, honestly, and that's kind of the issue here, is that it's a very difficult choice. Okay. Maybe one thing we can look at is this guy here, Hero Yan. Houdini and Unreal. Oh. Okay. we'll go ahead and actually save this link here. Maybe we'll look into it later. All right. Why don't we go ahead? There was another article that we wanted to look at. I think it was on the XR Bootcamp website. Yeah, on their blog. They had, oh, it looks like someone's spamming our YouTube channel. Let's delete that. Unwanted commercial content or spam. Okay, there was another article here on XR Bootcamp that I thought was interesting. Was this the one? This is what we just read. The best VR SDKs for interactions. I think that's the one we were looking for. And they also compare Unity and Unreal. So today we have espresso coffee. How to select the right AR/VR interaction SDK for your project. Have you ever considered changing your preferred VR SDK? Okay. Okay. Interactions are at the core of the XR experience. I don't know about this XR, you know, like I know there's VR and virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality, VR, MR, AR, and then XR is kind of like the superset out of all of those, but what does XR even mean, you know? Just say VR and then just say VR subsumes the other ones. Interact. Grabbing in VR development. Okay, physics interactions. Yep, pushing buttons. Moving a lever. UI interactions, right? Selecting colors, stuff like that. Using the tip of the finger. locomotion, smooth teleporting. Yeah, in this form of teleporting, it limits your field of view when you move to get rid of some of the nausea that people feel when they move quickly in VR. Multiple target devices. Yeah, which are you targeting specifically? Which XR environment? Difficult? Is it the interaction? OpenXR is royalty free. Okay, does Unreal have OpenXR? Oculus Interaction SDK. Yeah, the Unity XR Interaction Toolkit works for all of these headsets. Versus the Oculus Interaction SDK only works in VR. Both of them support OpenXR. Okay. The SDK includes physics interactions, support or examples. Is the SDK detecting inputs based on the device, or is the detection based on the action? Interaction controller samples. UI, locomotion, two-handed. For example, grabbing an object with both hands and scaling it, so two-handed based interactions. Okay, there's a couple different interaction toolkits here. You have the Unity Official XR Interaction Toolkit, the MRTK Mixed Reality Toolkit, the VRTK Virtual Reality Toolkit, Oculus Interaction SDK, and the XRTK, which is the fork of Microsoft. Yeah, Virtual Reality Toolkit doesn't get updated super frequently. It doesn't support all the things. But it is open source. Physics interactions, some samples, I don't know what that means. Maybe some of the examples. Hand tracking, this is kind of a must. Controller support, input detection, device hand action, just device. Interaction controller samples, UI interaction samples. Where are these again? Samples just means example projects. Okay, that makes more sense. So, I mean, they say limited, but we saw on the marketplace for Unreal that they do have some add-ons or some plugins, add-ons. I don't know what you want to call it in Unreal, but they do have some stuff that you could purchase to get UI interactions. Outdated locomotion teleportation. I don't really want to use that anyways. That stuff sucks. Two hands. Included hands. Add custom hands. Accessibility options. Difficulty level. Advantages and disadvantages of VR SDK. So the XR Interaction Toolkit, that's this one here, which is kind of the big Unity one. Unity XR Tech Stack. Unity's input system to identify the input events. Okay, so you have different XR plugins for the different devices. You have Windows, right? So the HoloLens, Magic Leap for their headset, AR kits for phone, augmented reality, the Oculus One. That feeds into the XR SDK directly. So these are the Unity XR SDK is directly writing and supporting the integrations between those. Then you have a bunch of different subsystems here that you can use. Input environment faces, raycasting, camera. Okay. Difficult to add custom features, no UI, 1 or 2 hand interaction samples. Very good documentation, big community, pretty good amount of YouTube content. Microsoft, MRTK. Sounds terrible. VR SDK, VRTK. Not as widely used. Okay, so this one's dead. And then Oculus Integration SDK. Yeah, so Oculus Integration SDK, this is probably the one we're going to want to use, right? Because we're going to really want to be doing stuff with the pass-through and so on. And then we have a fork. Is planned for the Meta platform. Okay. Interesting again. Oculus Interaction SDK has finally been released. Okay, is that different? Hand pose grabbing. Example prefabs and scenes. You have an empty room. Basic grabs. Is there an Oculus interaction SDK Unreal Engine 5? Six days ago, Dilmer Valicios. This guy's a great YouTuber. Heavily recommend this channel, by the way, guys. This is Unity. Pro. More YouTube tutorials and content. Hand tracking in Unreal Engine. Oculus Developer Center. When was this article written? They don't even tell you when this was written? UE4. We did have Unreal 5 integration here. New events for the Meta Quest Pro. Added models, added tests, eye tracking. Okay. Unreal Engine API reference. Is there even hand tracking in Unreal Engine 5? Issues. Let's see what people are complaining. Hand tracking v 2.0. Headset controller detection not working. This seems so dead, to be honest. What about Unity graphics? Really seems like Unreal just doesn't give a shit. It's such a powerful game engine, but they're good at business, you know, they're good at buying up companies and kind of investing in next level technology like Lumen and Nanite, but it's just the support and the developer community is just terrible. Nobody cares. Let's see if we can actually clone this and see if it works. Code, copy, git clone. Why is it asking me who I am? I'm not going to give it its password. Give you an SSH. Okay, we're receiving. Wow, this is quite heavy. And then we're going to run setup.sh. Alright, so somewhere in here there's going to be a setup.sh. Let's see what this does. Does not appear UE4 directory. So this isn't even Unreal Engine 5. This is UE4. Upload VR. Confirmed by Heavenu CEO, Alex Coulomb. Who the hell is this? Architecture and ex-architect. Creative director of Agile Lens. Maybe Apple headset will support Unreal Engine or Unity. Right, because if we want to think about kind of longer term support here, right? If we do something in the Unreal, okay, 2017, that's worthless. 2022. What is this? Apparatus. Asset stores. Unity has more stuff. We're still downloading. This thing's 7 gigs. Yeah, kind of the same thing here. Unity has much better community, more threads, kind of unified under C#, right? Versus Unreal is really split between the C++ developers and then the Blueprints people. Okay, 3D object. Make it float and rotate at the same time. Okay, and then here they're showing you whether the C# or the C++ code is faster. Core minimal, floating actor, it's an H file. There's a begin play protected function, a tick with a given delta time, public, a floating actor, inheriting from a actor, a floating actor, sets the tick equals true every time, creates a default cube object, sets it up, visual mesh attaches it to the root, set relative location, Begin play. In Unity, the floating actor inherits from mono behavior, which is a script that you have attached. The update is called once per frame. And it's significantly easier. You just rotate, position, etc. Yeah, you need the H file and the CPP file. Yeah, it's just everyone is choosing Unity. Both games can create visually stunning visuals. Okay, when does this switch to Unity? Performance comparison between C++ and Blueprint. Okay. Damn, so Blueprint is significantly slower than programming directly in C++. And really all you're doing is just, it's a relatively simple expression. It just gets calculated every time, and then below that is the C code for it. Alright, at least we got into here, so let's go into Unreal Engine. Let's set up. sh. Updating dependencies. That's going to take all day. What are we supposed to do? Okay, let's open a new tab while we're doing that. Let's go into it's Vim R Unreal. So con of Unreal is that blueprints can be much slower than C++ implementation. What does nativized blueprint mean? Okay, reason that gnome programs blueprint nodes run in a virtual machine, enabling them to call native C++. Unfortunately, relying on a virtual machine that basically takes that blueprint, translated into C++ code, comes at a cost. Here at Epic, we've successfully used blueprint nativization while developing our newest VR title, Robo Recall. Okay. Okay, so it basically compiles. You just have to enable it and then it'll compile all your blueprints. Alright. Still not done. Okay, universal render pipeline, high definition render pipeline. Okay, so drug development. company using Unity or Unreal. Audi uses Unity. Boeing, GE, US Navy are all using Unity. All right. It looks like it worked over here. If you don't see success, then building did not finish properly. Success, okay. What do we have in here now? Is there a bin? Maybe an engine? Maybe in programs? Maybe binaries? Linux? In build? Linux? You guys can't see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. Vim UE4 Oculus. Okay, this is like the API. CD engine. All right, that's the Roomba getting started. And that's me sneezing. So we still haven't really made a decision here on Unity versus Unreal. Git let's comparing Unity and Unreal for VR. did that actually work? What the fuck is this saying? Yeah, we're good. We committed to that. Oculus integration SDK for UE5 is not yet at feature parity with the UE4 integration. We can recommend UE4 for active app development. Damn. It's just really not there. It kind of feels like it makes a lot more sense to use Unity than Unreal. Let's go to this. I want to see the files. VR. There we go. Yeah, maybe another thing there is that really Unreal Engine 5 isn't fully supported yet. If only Unity just wasn't so corpo. So corporate. Here's another way to look at it. Google Trends. Unreal Engine compared to Unity in let's do the past 5 years. Unity VR, Unreal Engine VR. Unity VR. Past 12 months. Yeah, it just feels more and more like Unreal Engine just is not there. I mean, they're really trying to move quickly. But Unity just seems like it has the market share and the simplicity. All right. I think that's all I got for now. I'm going to think about what the best decision here is, and hopefully give you guys an unboxing video later this week once the Quest Pro comes in. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for looking at this stream. It's kind of a boring one today, but it's